We are
Hi.
here today.
Yes, we are. Oh, yeah.
We are here
Very.
today, and it's week 13, last week of the regular season for college football, also known as Rivalry Week.
Hi. Go ahead. I mean to say this was just like this was a bad this was a bad week. I just wanted something to happen. But it didn't. And
What do you mean it's a bad? What does a bad week mean?
no. Okay, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Before we get into the games, I need to make a few statements. I won't call it a rant. It's a few statements. The referees suck. Every week I felt like, maybe it was a fluke, maybe it was a one off. They were terrible. Terrible yesterday.
Referee school.
Sorry?
Sorry. Never mind. They should all go to referee school.
All of them immediately. We need to get a winter break session before these bowl games. And yesterday was very chippy between the teams, which I like to see. I mean, what's a rivalry without a little, extracurricular, as the announcers kept saying, little extracurricular activity on the field there, a little extracurricular activity. I like it.
It was fight. It was
No,
fights.
they did not. Now, see, you took it too. They did not fight. They did not all out fight, but it was passionate. I like to call it passionate. When I get a little, worked up, I call it passionate. Let's start.
I call it a fight.
But the who fault?
Never mind. Refs.
Okay. Let's just take it from the top. Let's take it back to Turkey Day. There was games on Thursday and Friday. What'd you watch? What'd you like? What didn't you like from the Thursday and Friday game?
Okay. There's only one game on Thursday, and that was the Ole Miss Mississippi game. It was such a dull game. They're number 12, I think, or something, and they just played flat. And it was just like, okay, they won. It was 17-7. At halftime, it was 7-7. And they did finally end up winning. But enough of that. That was neither here nor there. Now, Friday's game, they got a little bit better. It was. Did you watch the Iowa-Nebraska game?
No.
Okay.
I watched a little bit of Oregon State.
Well, I was trying to watch all the ranked teams, I should say. There were 17, but it was a Big Ten, I think. And again, it was like 7-0, and Nebraska was holding on. And then it got 10-7, and Nebraska still holding on. Then Nebraska came back and tied it. And I thought, oh my God, it was only like a couple of minutes left in the game. Iowa was going for the touchdown. It was tied 10-10. A couple minutes left in the game. They get intercepted by Nebraska. Nebraska gets the ball. They're going down to try to get into a field goal range. The quarterback throws an interception. Iowa gets the ball back. Now there's like less than a minute left on the clock. They're driving. They're going down. Then they're sloppy tackling as usual. Get down within field goal range. 7 seconds left on the clock. He kicks the field goal. Iowa wins. I should have known by then.
Wow.
I should have known by then that these games were not going to go well. And then I think that was not the only thing I had. No, I think I did. I watched. How about that Missouri Arkansas game? You watch Missouri Arkansas?
What I started to watch because I thought that rivalry week. Somebody obviously Iowa Nebraska was the one to watch because they gave them a game. Big, I say Big Ten football is the toughest. But I started to watch Missouri. It was 20-0 at halftime. I was like, okay, I didn't waste my time. And then Penn State just blanked Michigan State. I know they've had a lot of trouble, but I mean, you can't get them a field goal. Oklahoma, who you know how I feel about Oklahoma, but they kind of just took over by halftime. So I started to watch the Oregon State game because I was hoping that Oregon State looked so good against Washington last week. I
Yeah,
thought maybe,
yeah.
now I know they were at home and there were different elements, so I thought maybe they would give Oregon a little competition, and that didn't happen. So I just went back
No,
to
no, that.
yeah, I just went back to watching you know, Thanksgiving episodes
Yeah.
in movies.
Well, and the movie. Well, the one game I would like to point out, was the Missouri game. Of course, they ended up taking 38-14. But at the time, and this is where I got back into the refs again. I swear to God,
Hey, hey,
the
hey.
play is under review. The play is under review. I have never seen so many plays in a football game under review in all my life. But then again, this is where it's got to be like, come on, let's just play the game. Then I came back to the refs. Some calls they were making, some calls they weren't. That's when the fight started.
Well,
Teams start emptying the bench. The
they
coaches run out there trying to kick them apart. They're slugging. Somebody's helmet came off. The referee got in the middle. I would have gave him a punch too. But anyway, I digress. 200 players from Missouri got kicked out. 200 players from Arkansas got kicked out. But in the first quarter, their running quarterback for Arkansas, KJ Jefferson, big guy, he got hurt. That kind of took the heart out of him. They started slugging.
wait,
And
I
the
know
second
his
half,
name. I know his name. I know his name. He's huge, right?
big.
And he's
Oh my
running.
God.
I seen. Oh,
First quarter.
I didn't even know it was him. Oh my God, he got hurt. I love him. He is huge.
And
And
then
he is athletic.
but they just let it get it out of control. Did you have to call a call? Did you have to review every dang play? I mean, well, I know it was a championship, it was a rivalry, but my God. So it got trippy. Arkansas kind of lost heart. They kind of, made silly play, blah, 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 blah. So that was over with. Oregon, like you said, it was a good game. It was Bo Nix.
It wasn't a good
I mean,
game,
Oregon,
though. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't even close.
it wasn't a great game because, like you said,
No, it was a bad game. It wasn't a good. It was a bad game for Oregon State. It wasn't even close.
No. I'm just saying it was Bo Nix. What can you say? And the run, I mean, what can you say? It's Bo Nix. So that game kind of,
30 years old. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to do. You're at a job 6 years. You should know how to do it. I'm not taking away from anything he's doing, because I'm sure there's people who've been there 6 years and who suck. But we'll see if they actually, get put to the test when they play next week. And them over calling the Missouri game must have got back, because they didn't call nothing yesterday. It was nothing but no calls and bad calls. And some of them was the same in light, because it was awful. Now, I don't mind when you let them play if it's even Steven. But sometimes these calls are game-changing calls. And that will take me to the game of the day yesterday. Ohio State versus Michigan. So I'm not gonna dwell on it. I am an Ohio State fan. I've said it 100 times. Definitely shoulda, coulda, woulda won the game yesterday. But if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. It came down to three. It came down to 3 plays for me. Not barring the last play, which was an interception when the O line collapsed and McCourt got hit and threw a fluky ball he did not have to throw. But it was 3 big plays for me. It was the interception in the beginning McCourt made. Fine. He bounced back from it. Glad to see it. It was the missed field goal after they iced the kicker. Okay, fine. And the biggest one for me was the interception that Ohio State made that they called a touchdown for Michigan, when the player clearly did not have control of the ball. It was absolute. Now, if you don't want to call it an interception, fine. You got to call it a fumble or something. I mean, Ohio State came up with the ball. And for me, that was game changing. Now, we always say, never let the game be that close where a ref call will make an effect on it, right? We should have definitely been up higher. And I just think the Ohio State team could have done it. But I do have to ask you the question that everybody's asking today, because you are a Ohio State fan-ish. I won't go into detail. Is Ryan Day getting fired?
no comment. But I do have one comment about the game.
Wait, no comment. You are
McCord.
saying to me off the camera for weeks. Ryan Day
What?
better do it. Ryan Day better do it. This is his
McCord.
third loss in a
I ain't
row.
gonna say no more.
Now you got nothing
No more.
to say.
I'm saying no more.
What are you, camera shy now? What's going on?
I said I was saying no more.
You didn't say anything.
McCord.
You didn't say anything.
All right. Okay. 2 interceptions. Now, that's all I'm gonna say. Moving right along. 2 interceptions.
I don't think you can call. I think the last one you don't hold against them. The first one you hold against them, but that last one I don't think you hold against him. And I think you do have to give credit for the way he came back into the game and he didn't let it affect him. This is his first year starting. This is his first big game, and I know we don't have room or time for that as Ohio State fans, but it is what it is. Like you got to do more, and it can't come down to one person. It can't come down to one ref. It can't come down to one play, and it can't come down to one person. That's just the point of it all.
No excuses. No excuses. No mas. No mas.
But you're not a real fan,
No
so I will tell the
Well,
viewers to take your opinion with a grain of salt because I heard you bet against Ohio State, but I'm not gonna say nothing about that.
Well, you just did.
To LSU versus Texas A&M. Did you watch?
I didn't watch that one. I did not.
I'm sorry.
That
was mine. I just kind of wanted to. I'll keep it quick on that one. I'm sorry, I forgot. I just wanted to watch because the records were close, and Jaden Daniels has been in this Heisman talk, and I mean, the game wasn't even close. Jaden Daniels was making big plays. I can see now they were playing an unranked Texas A&M, but I can see where the hype comes from. I looked up his stats. Jaden Daniels has 40 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns this season.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was. You know what? I just kind of didn't pay attention to him. And now at the end of the season, he's really his name is starting to pop up.
No,
Heisman, hopefully.
You haven't been paying attention. Yeah. He's been popping up for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think
I have not paid attention.
I lied to you. I think he came into, because remember LSU was ranked higher when it started.
Right. It was.
Yeah, and so they've been saying his name, but it's just been getting progressively more because of the stats and what he's putting up. It's just unfortunate LSU doesn't have the best record, but they have examples of other people won Heisman when the team's records weren't great. So we'll see.
Right.
They may not hold that against him. Okay, Bama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl.
Bama and I was watching Washington State. Ooh, I will be honest with you.
Another good one.
Well, I know. And I was kind of watching that one, and it was kind of getting interesting. And my son came in, our sometimes production manager. He wanted to watch Alabama, Auburn. Plus, he wanted to watch several other sports. He is on this binge where he's into all sports. He wanted to watch basketball. He wanted to flip it to hockey. And we kept kind of going back and forth until I caught the last, maybe 10 minutes of the Auburn, Alabama. Then I got into the Auburn, Alabama. What a game. I don't know. I shouldn't say what a game. No. But from the little bit of the score, Auburn was leading.
It was a game. So I was focused. I'm sorry. I was focused. Let me tell you, I wasn't really focused on either one. I wanted to watch Washington State, Washington, because I wanted to see more appendix, and I wanted to watch Bama, Auburn because I just wanted to. I was gonna watch a little bit. Auburn lost to New Mexico State last week. I was like, they're not gonna beat Alabama. No wreck, right? And they were leading, and I said, no, Nick Saban's not gonna go out like this. So then I got into it once it was like, because a lot of the games, the first quarter, the team that was the underdog scored first, and so I'm just like, okay. So I got into it, and they talk about the referees effing suck. There was a huge face mask, no call at all, and then Jalen Monroe, quarterback for Bama, gets a stupid. He
Yeah,
passes the ball past the line of scrimmage. Come on, like this is.
I think that.
He should have just, should have just ran it. And I know it's always easy to be. What do they call us? Coach quarterbacks or couch coaches.
Right. Yeah,
But
couch
and
coaching.
then
Couch
the
coaching.
play of the game, top 10 plays of yesterday, if you ask me, maybe even top 5, let's say top 3. It was 4th and 31. And Milrose sat in that pocket. He got his hair done. He got his nail. He sat in that pocket in that O-line, and he threw that ball and
He
scored
had a
a
tea party.
touchdown. 30 seconds on the clock. Game over.
Back there.
Auburn thought they had it in the bag. It was a great game, though. Great game. Instant classic. I'm gonna call
The
it.
man is back there. He's bouncing around. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're gonna catch him. They're gonna catch him. He's bouncing around back there. He's looking across the field. I think he threw it to Saban. I think Saban threw it back to him, and then I think he threw for the touchdown. Did you see that last stand O-line?
You
Unbelievable.
are getting elevated. What is going on?
I'm telling you, hey, it's Kelly. It's just my leftover anger, kind of like that leftover turkey.
Leftovers from yesterday. I love it. Leftovers from Thursday. Hey, message to the public. If you didn't freeze them leftovers, throw them away. Don't eat them leftovers from Thursday because it was cooked on Wednesday.
If I had it enough, I freeze them.
I ain't talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the public. If there's don't put them leftovers, y'all. I see you eating that dressing and that turkey. You better cut it out. You gotta cut it out. No, it was a great game. It was a great game. I was so proud. Rivalry week. I think Country said it. He says you go in a rivalry week and you're like, oh man, this happened. You look at it like, no, look at the records, look at the rankings. It ain't gonna be watching. Don't be excited. It was crazy. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Washington State. Walk off.
Here we go again.
Walk off field goal.
Hey, already now. Already, I'm jumped out. I'm saying, okay. So I flipped because since Washington came on a little later, I said, I can still catch some of the game. So I'm watching the Washington State game. Penix got intercepted. He got hit a couple times. I'm thinking, this is getting good. So, all right, we're coming down to the wire. The game is tied. 21-21. I'm thinking, this can't be. 5-6? Washington State? Against 11-0? Michael Penix Jr.? Heisman hopeful? Okay, I was in that game, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this game's gonna go either way. And they went to kick a field goal, and Washington got I think Washington got a penalty, a leaping penalty. The referees are pulling penalties out of their hats.
I did not know that was a thing, and so I had to Google it because I've seen people block field goals before, and I'm like, what? Don't everybody leap? Well, you can't leap and land on another player. So
I think that's what he did.
That's why they called it. He didn't hurdle him. He leaped over and he landed on the other person, and it resulted in Washington State getting 7 points because they kept the ball.
7 points.
Yeah. Yep. So a big play.
Big play. Well, of course, Michael Penix Jr. is Michael Penix Jr. So he comes down, drives him back down the field.
Well, let's give credit because, and I have to also back to how much the refs suck. They called an intentional grounding on him. I think it was during this drive, that last drive. And it was so silly. You don't get intentional grounding when you're under duress. He was under duress. They've done that a few times this season, and it's pissing me off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? Anyway, so they got him with intentional grounding, and we got to give credit to his partner.
Oh my God.
Penix Doomsday. The dynamic duo.
I just call him Doomsday because every time he
That
throws
works
to this guy,
too. That works too.
every time he throws to this guy, hey, you can pretty much be guaranteed of a catch. And he catches it, and I went, oh no, it's over.
Unbelievable.
Boom, boom, gets him in field goal range. Game over. 3-point
Unbelievable.
difference.
Unbelievable. That trick play they did on 4th and 1, it confused the cameraman, which means it confused me. He pointing to the pile. All of a sudden, he pans up, and Deuce is running across the field. Huge trick play. I loved it.
I
I
know.
loved it. I love when they pull
I
out
loved
all the
it.
stops. You ain't gotta go
They got
old faithful, old screen and traditional. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Hey, let's go tomorrow.
Michael Penix could not even watch the field goal attempt. He put his head in the
Turn
little
around.
media cart,
Yes.
and you know what?
Yeah.
The
Turn his head.
announcers had said earlier in the game, he is always so composed. I think O'Doon said too, he's like, he never gets elevated. Something happens. He keeps his composure. And then at the end, he didn't want to watch the field goal. And then the field goal, went in and they told him, and he could not. And then he put the
He still didn't watch it. Yeah, he still
he
stood
put
there.
the jacket over his head and walked out. And somebody said, you know what? He is composed in the game, but listen, that's a lot of pent
Hey,
up.
this is
That's a lot of pent up emotion. It's huge.
my dear.
Huge. And we're talking about
You're
Washington.
tired with the 5 and 16.
When's the last time Washington was 12-0? Do we even know?
Didn't look it up. No. Were they ever watch? Oh, no.
That's bananas. You know what though? As we all know, the Pac-12 that is standing today will no longer be next year. And
Yeah,
I just think
I know.
that game sent Pac-12, the ending of an era, out in a big way.
That was beautiful.
A
That
big
was a
way.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, God, all those games look like history making. I mean, not all the games, but these games, like the 2-point, the 3-point games, history making. And did you watch the Florida?
Well, I had one more thing about Washington if I could finish. See,
Oh, okay.
leftovers.
Right.
Leftovers. Here we go. The other pretty cool thing was after the game, the field goal kicker was given a scholarship. So he was not on scholarship before the game. And
Really?
Yeah, the coach announced it after the game in the locker room. They put him on scholarship. So I thought that was really beautiful. And
Now that
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You said I was going to say you said something about he was not on scholarship. There was I wrote that down. Somebody else was not on a scholarship either. Oh, and they gave him. Oh, I get Missouri Schrader.
No way.
The running what is it? Running? No, wait. Now, listen to that. I wrote it down, and you reminded me. Cody Schrader was a walk-on.
Oh.
They didn't, give him anything. He was a walk-on. After the first year, I think they said once they seen what Schrader could do, because Missouri, Schrader was running all over the place.
Yes, he's good.
Once they see what he could do, then he was offered a scholarship. So I like that when they do that. Hey, this is your reward. You show what you can do. So
if you think about it, to this point, I mean, they're 12-0. They're 12-0. And I don't know his record, but it's kind of like, this is the guy you go to and he doesn't have a scholarship at 12-0.
Exactly.
That's kind of crazy. And how many kickers do we see all the time who Oregon's kicker flubbed it when they tried to win over Washington or go to overtime, and is he on scholarship? But it might be hard for kickers. I don't really care about the stats. But you talk about, but Ghee, you make a good point about those games were games for histories, because the number of one possession games yesterday, if you will bear in mind, if you will give me grace for a second, Ohio State, Michigan. These are all one possession games, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State, Michigan. Iowa State, Kansas State in a snowstorm. I don't know if you've seen that. Washington State, Washington State, Washington. Bama, Auburn. Iowa, Nebraska. Georgia, Georgia Tech. West Virginia, Baylor. Kentucky, Louisville. 8 games. And this is not, they didn't say this was all, These were 8 games that ESPN CFB pointed out on Instagram today. One possession games in 1 week. 8 of them. That's a bananas. But you started it off. We're going to go to Florida State, the battle of the backup quarterbacks. What do you got?
You know what? Now I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge now. I done watched all these games. Ohio State lost to the team up north. I'm just on the edge. I said, I can't watch another game. But I got into it again. They sucked me in. I'm thinking, okay, one more play. But I didn't get all of that game, too, because I think I was watching a little bit of Washington State finish up. And I got back into Florida State. Now, I was a little remiss because when Jordan Travis got hurt last week, I thought, oh, my God. And they did mention that in the CFL standings, too, didn't they? And because they were worried without their main quarterback.
They mentioned how it wasn't a factor, which we all were saying. Yeah,
maybe it was. And
no. I should have. It was not going to be a factor on how they ranked.
It was going to be a factor. And I should have thought, well, maybe with that score last week, I should have realized I did not give him credit. Tate Rodemaker.
Why would
came out and I don't know. It was because it was 58-13 last week.
It was against North Alabama, and they ran the ball. Why would you give Rodemaker any credit? He's a backup. What you haven't seen him play?
I believe they were ahead. I believe North Alabama was leading at the time that Travis got hurt.
But they're North Alabama.
Okay. All right. Now you just said the records didn't count. But moving on.
I'm talking about you giving Rodemaker credit. I'm not talking about the CFB ranking.
I'm giving Rodemaker credit because I watched him yesterday, and I did not know how precise he was because I didn't watch that much of that game last week. And he came back, and I mean, he is accurate. And the boy can throw. He didn't run as much as Travis, which is Travis's little trademark. But
he almost got hurt.
I was amazed. Yes. When they threw a penalty because he hit the court, he was sliding, and they hit him. And they got him for targeting. They threw the guy out for targeting.
Yes, they did.
That was
yes, they did. Which I thought that was aggressive, but again, bad calls from the refs.
Well, it was. So Trey Benson. I mean, what can I say? Trey Benson for Florida State is Trey Benson. The guy had 3 touchdowns, 96-something yards. I mean, it was like, okay, there's our player.
Completion percentage was only 48%. So I think you hyped that up. I think Florida.
I hyped it up because he's a backup. That's why I hyped it up. What backups have you seen come in and throw that? Okay.
Cardell Jones, JT Barrett.
Oh, good God.
Here's the thing. Florida State won. You got to give credit for that. But I feel like Florida State also went to their run game, which I don't think is their normal MO. I haven't watched every game, but they went to their run game and they showed up. It was very shaky the first half. I did not think they were going to make it because Florida is also playing with a backup quarterback, Max Brown. And I was impressed by Max Brown last week more than I was impressed by Rodemaker. Now, I always a backup quarterback. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of quarterbacks that are starting this year were backup quarterbacks last year. Carson Beck was a backup quarterback for 3 years to Stetson Bennett on Georgia. So backup quarterback doesn't have to have a, scarlet letter about it, but today was the day that we were going to see him. It was a battle of the backups. Now, Florida State's the better team. We should also point that out, point blank period. It's not like the records were even close. Florida's 5-6 or 6-5. They did not have a great.
5-6.
Yeah, they were
5-6.
They were 5-6. They did not have the greatest record. But for them to come out and outscore them in the first half, I was very impressed. And then they just didn't come out in the second half. You got to play 4 quarters.
No, they did not.
So Florida State will remain undefeated, and we'll see how the CFP feels as they rank them on. And speaking of rankings, let's go to number 1. Georgia versus Georgia
I
Tech.
did not watch that game.
Okay, I did.
I,
And let me tell you what.
oh, God.
I said, I'm only going to watch for a little second because at that point, I don't even know if there was another game. I think Florida State might have been on at the same time. And I thought Florida State was going to be the bigger game, which I think technically, no, I'm not going to say it was. Because Georgia Tech came out. They struck first.
Yeah, you're right. They were.
Yeah. And mind you, this is Georgia Tech we talking about. At least with Florida, the Gators have a legacy, right? They have the Tim Tebows, they have the Urban Meyer. They have some things to point to. But
Right.
Georgia Tech is. I think you're Georgia Tech. I think. What do you think? Basketball.
What about them?
No, you think.
Oh, yeah.
True, you don't think. Yeah, you don't think football. So, I wasn't expecting Georgia Tech to do anything, but they outscore them first quarter, 10-7, and then halftime the score was 14-13 Georgia, and Georgia Tech is making these like silly mistakes, and I said, oh my goodness, I think the game proved that Georgia is not bulletproof like everybody thinks, and people have a real chance of beating them. Now, of course, Georgia came out second half and pulled it out and just pulled ahead, but it was 31-23, which technically is a one possession game. Again, like you're number one Georgia, right? 29-0 winning streak. Georgia Tech, a 6-5 Georgia Tech. Now it's rivalry week. I know it's rivalry week, but I just thought that was interesting. And it seemed like every other player on Georgia Tech came from Georgia. Oh, he wants to beat his old teammate. Maybe I'm exaggerating, or maybe they kept talking about the same guy, but like he came from Georgia. He came from Georgia. And Georgia Tech's quarterback, he was all right. I'm excited. They should be going to a bowl game because they're 6-6. And I'm excited. I'm gonna watch that bowl game. I'm excited to watch that.
Whatever.
Who would have thought?
They come, the bowl selection will be December 3rd after that last game.
Why are you jumping ahead?
Because you said I'm excited to see them in a bowl game.
But I didn't ask you about that. I didn't ask you about that.
Bowl game.
No, you're not.
Why would they be in a bowl game?
Listening. Everybody who's 6-6 go to a bowl game. If you knew about college football. Every 6-6 team,
well, you know I don't know.
Every 6-6 team goes to a bowl game. That's why James Madison was sued.
We're not analysts, so I didn't,
If you let me finish and listen, you would probably know more facts and less riffraff over there, leftovers. My gosh. Sip your mimosa, please, and let me finish what I was saying. Sip your mimosa and let me finish.
Go ahead.
You tripping when you ain't sipping. Have a refill. Okay? No, every team that's 6-6 should be able to go to a bowl game. That's why James Madison sued, and they dropped the lawsuit after they had the loss, and then they're hoping that there won't be enough 6-6 teams, and they'll get to do a bowl game anyway, which I believe they announced today that they are bowl eligible. Or bowl eligible. Let me put it that way. If you're 6-6, you're bowl eligible. My goodness. Moving on, we would be remiss if we did not mention the upset of the day yesterday. Number 10 Louisville lost to Kentucky, a 6-5 Kentucky, and I'm not shocked. How about you?
That was the only game that went right for me.
What do you mean went right? You were rooting for everybody to lose?
It was an upset. I was rooting for the underdog.
Can I tell you something? There were no chaos theories. There were no chaos theories yesterday, but I was making them. I wanted Washington to lose. I wanted Georgia to lose. I didn't care about Bama.
Alabama.
I wanted obviously I wanted Michigan to lose, but that would have been a chaos theory.
Oh.
I don't think that's an upset. They were 2-3. That was just as Herb Street said, almost like a playoff game. But I was rooting for everybody to lose yesterday, and I had a Florida State to lose. I had a whole chaos theory mapped out, but there were no chaos theories yesterday, and the ones I had mapped out. I will tell you, I do have more chaos theory, but I might save it for Tuesday. Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, never mind. Oh, okay, never mind. I like your chaos theory. Go ahead.
What were you about to say?
The only loss I had in the chaos, number 19, Kansas State lost.
That's not a chaos theory for the playoffs, though.
Oh, the playoffs. Okay.
Nobody cares about
I don't
19.
Okay, all right. Moving right along.
Speaking of the playoffs, as we know, this is the last year that they are going to do 4 teams. Next year, they're expanding it to 12 teams. And
Right.
the FCS already does it this way, and it's a bracket type of matchup. And I'm not sure if the committee puts people in a slot or if it doesn't matter, 15 plays 2 or 15 plays 5 and all of that. But thinking about it, I think it was Herbstreit or maybe another announcer said that the Ohio State Michigan game was like a playoff game. I said that's very true. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're on the same side of the Big Ten conference. Because
Right.
I was thinking like, oh man, it'd be cool if they were on separate sides. But then you would see Ohio State, Michigan play after Thanksgiving, and then you would watch them play again in the championship because they would just dominate.
True.
So
True.
for football fandom, that makes no sense. As an Ohio State fan, I want us to be able to survive no matter what. But so then I got to thinking, if they move it to 12 teams, how do they ensure we don't just get repeat game after repeat game? Right? So
good question.
If you think about the top 12, Bama and Georgia play next week. Okay, so if Bama wins and they're both on lost teams, do they play again in this bracket? It'll be interesting. Just some thoughts. It'll be interesting to see how those come out next year.
Yeah. Just look at the top 12. I think most of them have played each other. Just look at the top 12 as it currently is. And
a lot of them are at the
So what do
So what do you do?
What do they do? Yeah. I know
maybe they'll control it more and finagle it more. Because the other thing is, it's very likely like you could have somebody, because I think the way the FSC does it, 1 through 4 does not play in the first round, right? So the first round, if you 1 through 4, you don't play in that first round. It might be 1 through 6. Don't quote me. I seen the chart, but I didn't study it. Say it's 1 through 6. 1 through 6 does not play in the first round. But it's very likely that you have, your Oklahoma States or your, you know what I mean? In that 7 through 12 that play each other and then so I don't know. We'll see how we play it out. The playoffs were new at 4 teams. I guess it'll be new again at 12. I like the 4. I think you have to be hungrier. I think it's more elite. I think, of course, the more people you let in, the more it's kind of like, you almost could get, you can get, you get a bunch of 2-loss teams. You can get mediocre with it. And college football, as we know, 1 loss is ridiculous. And for a lot of these programs, 1 loss is a failed season. So that was my little thought on that. The other thing I thought about yesterday and kind of made me sad was what happens with all the changes to the conferences, right? Pac-12 is basically down to like 2 teams after this year. Big 10 is changing. Big 12 is changing. All the things. In a major way, not 1 to 2 teams, in major ways, right?
Right. I know. Yes, true.
What do they do with these little conference rivalries? Like at Washington State played for the Apple Cup. What happens to the Apple Cup?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Right, there's an Egg Bowl with Georgia. There's, these people are playing these little. I keep saying little. I shouldn't say that. These are big traditions. Some of them are 100 years old. Like, what happens to them? Because there's no way you can guarantee you can play somebody who's not in conference for the Apple Cup. Nobody, the money's not there. The money's not there. Nobody cares about that. Isn't that sad though?
The USC UCLA game. I don't know. I was thinking about that one. Yeah,
well, they're both going to the Big Ten though, so that's possible. Rivalry is rivalry. Yeah. Oh, you know what though? You make a good point. How's it rivalry? When you're playing out of conference.
I don't know what they go. Yet to be decided.
Well,
I don't know how they're going to do that.
There's anything to decide. I just think those traditions are over, and I'm not usually one that's sentimental for tradition, but There's
Yeah,
very
but
few
we've been
people
watching.
that
Right,
last this long in
right,
anything, right? So
right,
kind of just like,
right.
football wasn't this big money machine back 100 years ago,
Now it
right?
is. Now it is.
Yeah, but so
Yes.
these little traditions they tried to let survive this money machine are just getting gobbled up.
And yeah,
I thought that was kind of sad, but
you look at it, and it is what it is. Money is money, and they're gonna make it. If there's money out there, they're gonna make it. So anyway, we'll just maybe I think one time they tried to explain a little bit of it on the championship rankings, but maybe they'll go into a little bit more of it on Tuesday. Now that we've got pretty much set the top four, I think we'll go. Maybe they'll get a little forward to the 12 team.
I disagree on the top four being set because you haven't heard my chaos theory, but I'll save that for Tuesday since we'll probably do a show on Tuesday after the rankings. And I bet they steal my idea. I'll let them steal my idea. They can pay. Listen, that's their job. We do this for fun. We do it for fun. I'll let them get paid off my chaos theory, but speaking of, I know we'll do our show Tuesday, but just another little rhetorical in the air. I'm hoping that the CFP puts a little filter on these games yesterday because there were a lot of unranked people playing the top 4-6 teams who, came in and did not lay down. Didn't win, but didn't lay down.
Flip of a coin. Flip of a coin. Could have went the other way.
Yeah, it could have went the one possession games for the history books. I think this is a
Right.
rivalry week for the history books. But I'm hoping if you were on the CFP, do you take that into consideration? Like, okay, y'all, yes, it's one possession, but it's rivalry week. No matter this was here before we began this thing, right?
A win is a win. Okay? And like you say, they may put a little bit of a filter on it, like the FI, well, you control the game, but not much.
I hope they
Not
take that
much.
control dominant of the game out just for this week. Just because it's rivalry.
Can't.
You know what I mean?
Can't.
Why?
Nope. Greg McElroy will not agree. Can't do it. So
why? But why? He's not part of the committee. So what he says doesn't even matter.
Oh, yeah. Don't you worry. He'll get it 2 cents in. So championship matchup next week. Sorry, you got more. You got more.
What has gotten into you today?
I don't know. I don't know. You just keep.
It's Sunday. Where do you gotta go?
Hey, the CFP might want my call.
Leftovers.
I'm waiting for the call.
Leftovers. Calm it down. Calm it down. Let me hurry up and rush through, y'all, because apparently she got somewhere to be. And your camera keeps going dark. For the first time in program history, the University of Toledo is 8-0 in conference wins. I thought that was notable. Thanks a lot. I see your shirt.
11-1 overall.
I didn't ask you that though. That's not a record. The record is them being 8-0 in conference for the first time ever in history. Okay.
11-1.
All right.
Just made the count.
All right. Thank you.
I'll be quiet.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do a lot of edits, y'all. She's been acting up today. It's gonna be edit. Last but not least, Colorado finished 4-8. Is that a success for Deion Sanders? Yes or no?
Oh, that was a cool. I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming. Being that they were 1-10 last year, I would say yes.
1-11. Yep.
1-11, whatever. Yeah, I would say yes.
I agree. I think they got a lot of work to do. Don't get me wrong, but I predict that Colorado will play in a bowl game next year, and I think that will be a success. So all they got to do is be 6-6. They will play in a bowl game next year, and that's gonna be amazing. I think he's done great things for the program. We've talked about it 100 times. We believe,
right.
Pretend we're putting on sunglasses, and so I was excited about that. I was amazed, but you jumped ahead, 3 minutes ago. Next week is the conference championships. So the matchups are for the SEC, Bama, Georgia, Pac-12, Washington, Oregon. That's a rematch. Big 10, Iowa and that team up north. Come on, Iowa. Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma State. And for
Mm,
the ACC, it is Louisville, Florida State, which
mm,
Louisville could pull off a miracle. That'd be great. But that's part of my chaos theory. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save it for Tuesday. We taping Tuesday?
right. Hmm?
We gonna tape on
What?
Tuesday?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the CF.
What game are you excited about?
You said what?
What game are you excited about? You named all these
Ooh,
teams. What,
good
which one
question.
are you excited about watching?
I think it's pretty obvious. Bama,
What?
Georgia.
Georgia,
Bama, Georgia,
Alabama?
baby. This Nick Saban.
That's the one. I got it circled.
This Nick Saban.
Georgia, Alabama. If I don't watch another game the whole day, I want to watch Georgia, Alabama.
I'm with you.
Next,
I'm with you. I am with you. Now, mind you, we only talk about Power Five. We know other people have championships and all that fun stuff, but the Power Five is the Power Five. And listen, Linda, I'm with you. And can you believe I'm gonna be cheering for Bama? I never cheer for Bama. I can't stand Nick Saban, but here's Nick
well,
Saban. Respect
if
the
you
man.
flip a coin and say, Lord, there's something about Saban. He don't like to lose, and we know they can lose. Look what happened yesterday. But Saban will come out there swinging. Saban will run a trick play on the first run.
They still have a shot. I think they still have which I can't believe I'm saying this. They still have a real shot at the CFP. That's more about it in my chaos theory. And I got to leave y'all on that cliffhanger. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'll wrap it
Hey,
up. Let's
I'm
call it a
with
day so you can get off and do whatever you in a rush to do. And I'm Kelly. Like the color.
you. Like the butter.
And this is Saturday Hangover. Like, subscribe, follow, I don't know, block, delete, whatever feels right for you. It's end of the season, but we're gonna be back Tuesday with the rankings. We'll be back the following Sunday with the championship talk. And I think it's also selection Sunday. So it is going to be a fun-filled show next week. Little game, a lot of bowls, and we will sign out now.
All righty. All right, Maducci.
Arrivederci. Wow.
Hey, I got my